In this video, I'm going to show you a super cool way to do table joins so that on our table, instead of having these numbers for the author, we can actually have a meaningful author name. Now this will be quite a simple table join actually, but I'll show you a technique that you can use for simple or even very complicated table joins. With Trongate, it's all easy. So I'm going to take you to the Trongate desktop app, and I'm going to ask you to modify existing app and just choose the app that you're working on. So for me it's Books Repo, and then I'm going to click on Open Query Builder, and what that's going to do is it's going to read our database, and over on the top left hand side there you can see all of the database tables that are being used for this particular app. So I'm interested in authors. I'm going to grab it and drop it here. And I'm interested in books. I'm going to grab books and I'm going to drop books. Now do you see how we've got an author ID here? I'm going to click and then I'm going to drag over to this ID column on authors. Click. And I'm going to select an inner join. That's the type of table join I want, right? So there we go. And then I'm going to simply tick the fields that I would like to have. So for books, I'll just say everything. Okay, so I tick the little asterisk. And I'm also interested in getting the first name and last name from the author's database table. With that all selected, I'm now going to go to Show SQL, and it shows us the table join that we need there. So I'm going to copy that SQL. There we go. And now you can close this if you want, by the way. We're done with this. That's fine. And so from here, I'm going to open up our books module again. And you can see that we've got this get thing here, get method that's fetching the books. But we're going to do something a little bit more sophisticated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just say SQL equals, and in quotations, we'll paste in our query. We can even do a little smug indent, okay? And you can add order bys or anything you want. In fact, let's do that. So I'll space out and I'll just say order by. Now again, it can be anything you like. You can add a new line if it makes you feel good. Let's order by books.title. That's fine. So now, instead of this thing, we're going to change it. We're going to say data books is this model query bind. We're going to pass in, actually it's not even query binding, it's just going to be query, because there's no parameters here. There is no risk of SQL injection here, so just an ordinary query will be fine. So I'm going to pass in the SQL, and I like to have objects back. You can say object or array in here, but that'll do me. So I'm now going to save this and go back to this page here and hit refresh. Now it looks like nothing has happened. However, if we go into the view file for manage, now instead of this miserable author ID, I'm going to say book loading up first name, and we can have a little space, and we can say book loading up last name. So save it, refresh, and how'd you like me now? Isn't that awesome? So we're doing a table join there with pure SQL. You never had to load up a third-party library. You did not have to load up tons and tons of overheads. It's pure SQL, and it's a bullet, and we are now operating at about 20 times the speed of Laravel and Symfony. So I hope you enjoyed that. Shall we do the published as well? Let's just do that as well. So we've got this thing here that says published. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm simply going to say if published, now if it's, if it's book loading up published is equivalent to 1, then I'm going to make a published variable with a value of yes. Otherwise, I'm going to have a published thing with a value of no. So right in here, we'll just say published. Okay, so that's us. We've just made a little variable up there. And if we save and refresh, there you go. Okay, now by the way, there's an alternative way of doing this. I think this syntax is fine, but if you want to be really smug, you can actually use what's called a ternary operator. You don't need to do this, but you can say published equals, and then you say the condition. So you would say, in parenthesis, it would be book loading up published is equivalent to 1. Now that's the condition, and I'm going to say question mark. So if that happens, then published is yes. Now I'm going to say otherwise, it's 2 dots, it's a colon, like otherwise 2 dots. So otherwise, no. Okay, so that is an if-else statement, but just written in an alternative way. You don't need to do that, okay? But I'm going to just save, refresh, and there it is. Well done, and I hope you'll join me again.